Hey,
Yeah.
Saps. You talking over me already.
Sorry, go
Talking
ahead.
over me already. Today we're going to talk about Pluribus, which I'm sure most of you have heard about it, and it has to do with the fact that Vince Gilligan created it, the man who gave us Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and pretty much all the really great X-Files episodes. There were other writers who did great X-Files episodes, but his always stood out as being like, oh, that's just that extra touch of awesome. We're about to talk about Pluribus, and perhaps we should say spoiler alert.
I was lucky enough. Well, this is partially because they've been very shrewd in the way they've been talking about this, and I mean I didn't even see the trailer, but there hasn't been a whole lot of information circulating about what it's actually about. I think because the
That's true.
trailers don't reveal a whole lot.
They had teasers that made you go, "What is this?"
Yeah, well, I'd seen the ad, like the banner ads and stuff for it. I could see that Ray Seahorn was in it. I could see it was Vince Gilligan. I was like, well, okay, that's cool. I'm already on board just knowing it was Vince. But they're both there. That's even more appealing. And then I saw John Campbell talked about it and also didn't reveal anything about, no spoilers or anything. He just said it's really good. I wouldn't say it's the best 2 episodes of television I've ever seen, but it's up there. And I was like,
I wouldn't need to. Why do you have to quantify things like that? It's just
that's how he talks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was like, okay. So, and then I kept seeing other people saying that's really, really good, and not spoiling it,
Oh,
like,
you're lucky. I'm glad.
Okay, so I gotta get a jump on this now because eventually I will get spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't, if you are spoiled on the basic premise of it, it's not going to ruin it for you, I think. But you are missing out on a treat if you don't go in blind. It's the way the show unfolds. You're like, wait, oh, I know where this is going. No, I don't. Okay, now I know where this is going. No, I don't.
No, I don't.
No, I don't. And it keeps subverting where you think it's going. It's like, whoop, it takes another turn, and it's so delightfully unexpected and original. It takes a lot of familiar tropes and then takes a hard turn where you think those tropes usually go.
So we will spoil it. So you've been warned.
We are going to spoil the fuck out of these first 2 episodes.
I will say, though, is that I think, similar to yourself, that is enough of a selling point. Literally, creator and star are enough of a selling point that I think a lot of people did go in totally blind. But now I think pretty much everyone's seen it. I could be wrong. Maybe there are people out there like going, "Oh, I had no idea Vince Gilligan had done another show." I don't know.
I think a lot of people in our audience have not seen it, which is one of the reasons I'm being so cautious.
Well, yeah, okay. But I will say it does all the things I want Vince Gilligan to do, which is set up a brilliant premise. And then essentially, as I said to Jerry, I was like, now it's all about, does he stick the landing? I think Vince Gilligan is one of those TV creators, even with Breaking Bad, which went on and on and on. He always knew what the ending would be. And literally the whole series was just to get there. He was like going, the turning of a good man into the bad guy. That's the concept. So he knew where he was going. And did he stick the landing? Hell yeah.
Yes.
Breaking Bad satisfied. Better Call Saul. He knew where he was going, which was literally to meet up with the character as we knew him. But he also gave us the after parts where he's, that's just brilliant, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to give you a hint of what his life becomes after at the same time. And I'm going to say working at a Cinnabon.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
It's like 95% prequel and 10% sequel. It was really nice.
And that's great. Again, so in other words, unlike Lost, which I did compare this to when I was talking to Jerry, as in they're not similar shows, but when Lost began, the concept, the premise was so awesome. It starts so strong. The difference is those guys had no idea where they were going. They set all that stuff up, and then they're like, well, we'll come up with it on the way. And that's why the show ended with a wet fart.
And I will say one semi-spoiler for this. The first episode, at the very end of the episode, Pluribus, the show, it answers so many questions that Lost just never...
Oh, yeah.
Basically, Vince Gilligan gets out of the way. This is not a mystery box show. Here's all the answers. Like, this is everything that the characters know at this point. Like,
everything that the characters know is really important, because I do love every single time that everybody... like, because Ray is talking, or her character, what's her name?
Oh, Carol,
right?
Carol Sturka.
Anytime she speaks to anybody, she's speaking to the entire world. But I like every time they're like, well, Carol, that's interesting. We're not sure how this works. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Because literally that's all of the world's intelligence. The smartest minds on Earth are still like, well, it's probably going to be a couple of months before we've really figured out how all this is working. It's like, wow, that's just great. Here's the thing. It does feel familiar, yet very well done. It does feel like alien invasion story, only a different kind of alien invasion, closer to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which
it's
he's
totally
clearly
riffing on that kind of B movie. Especially the first episode has this B movie exuberance about the way it unfolds.
Well, you don't meet your main character for quite a while because it's essentially just literally like one of those SETI radar station type outposts, and they're getting messages from outer space that seem to be like actually intelligently constructed, and they're trying to decode them, and then eventually someone figures it out, and essentially, but we don't know why or how or who sent it still at this point. So it explains what the characters know. What they do believe to know is that this is a peaceful, supposedly, not invasion, but opening of awareness, and it's a sort of a virus that causes all human consciousness to be connected, which, since every person, minus 11, every single person now has everyone's thoughts and feelings and all that, war is instantly gone. There's no crime. It's all about we are one people. So they start caring for everything. And since I love all the reveals of the idea. What a concept. Everyone's expertise is shared.
Yeah.
So you do have that scene in episode 2 where Carol's like going, the woman from what is it, TGI Fridays is flying the plane because anyone can fly a plane.
Everybody is the expert of everything and
expert of everything,
possesses all knowledge of everything. Not only all the knowledge in the world, all fields of expertise, but everybody's lives. Everybody knows everything.
Yeah, all your memories, all
it doesn't matter. Apparently, every little thing, every little skeleton in the closet everybody ever had
is forgiven or understood. Yeah, and all that. Anymore. Yeah, it doesn't matter because they are overwhelmingly positive and such a brilliant. The concept is just brilliant. The idea that it is, she is instantly, because Carol, our lead character, is a novelist, a best-selling like genre fantasy novelist, who hates her own work mainly because it's not true to herself. She is closeted lesbian. And I mean, that would be sort of a skeleton in her closet, sort of. And her original, because she writes sort of fantasy romance where there's a pirate character, like a dashing rogue, that the lead heroine is in love with. And we find out later that she had originally planned for the pirate to be a woman and that would have been, closer to herself. But she changed at the last minute to a guy. And the idea that everyone in the world knows this because they know all the memories of her lover who passes. That's one thing. I like how they acknowledge, like, we lost some people, that this wasn't a perfect, union, because there were people, you go through a physical change, which is kind of like a seizure. And if you were in a plane or something, or in a car, you might have crashed and died. So they're
even
like,
just standing, which is what happened to her.
Her lover falls over, who is also her literary agent, falls over and just hits her head, and she's dead. Man, that was just so tragic, man. But Carol is, like most people would be, hyper freaked out by this, suspicious, even when it's made clear to her, if there's a better post Twilight Zone feeling scene than her talking to the Secretary of Agriculture, who's the highest ranking official at the time, and just through the TV, and it's like, "Hi, Carol," and just talking directly to her. It's like, it's like, call that number right there. We'll talk to you. We're all trying to talk to you. Like, who do you mean all? everybody, the whole world.
Up until that moment, he's just patiently standing there drinking water and
And it's like,
just
oh, you're
waiting for
up.
her to call.
And it's like, we'll get you anything you need. You need food, you need, because apparently for some reason they don't know, and that means humanity. There have been a few people who were not affected. It was purposely spread too. The first people are just in the little lab where they figure it out, and then they start bringing other people in, and the whole thing of them tainting donuts for people to eat, and then also just kissing to pass the virus. And then when they, as they explain, when the military becomes aware that this is happening, they had to up it. So they sent out jets and they did chemtrails, which, by the way, I bet there are a bunch of QAnon people going, see? But yeah, so they essentially, the entire world becomes one consciousness except for 11 holdouts across the globe, and that includes Carol.
Well, it's 12 including Carol, and then they say 12 at some point in these first two episodes, they say they just discovered there's a 13th person.
I mean, the concept is trippy, as you say. It is laid out pretty clear, and it is all about, because I'm not saying there'll be some scene where it's like, again, talking about Twilight Zone, to serve man, it's a cookbook. I don't know if we'll get that, but it does almost seem like, why are you fighting this so bad? It's like, we just want to help you, and look how nice the world is now. The world's absolutely great. But she's pointing out, obviously, individuality is gone. Mm-hmm. You may have everyone's memories, and you are free to do what you will, but it's all still in service of that whole, which means you're no longer an individual. There's just a hive mind. And what makes us human are all those quirks, and also emotional outbursts. One thing I found hard to believe, Gilligan has thought this really through, but the whole idea that her emotional outbursts, when she gets angry, those negative emotions can start a chain reaction through all of humankind. And it has caused another like seizure event. And then she finds out that because she got angry at one person, meaning the one representative who happens to be a female duplicate almost of the visual model of the pirate character in her novel. That's just
Raban.
Jesus Christ, that's so great. But and they're like, we thought this form would appeal to you. It's like, because I look a lot like that character that you imagined. How do you know what I imagined? Well, we also have the memories of your lover, and she was very happy right before she died, and we're sorry that she died. They're all really kind and nice, but also they just do whatever you want. So the whole thing about the guy who's living it up and going like, man, I've got all these hot chicks attending to me, and I'm flying Air Force One, and there's one guy who's really taking advantage of it. But what I was saying is, the thing I think is not quite, it's like, are you telling me that Carol is the only one out of the 12 that had anger and freaked out? Everyone else was that calm, like, oh, really? Oh.
Well, so far, the people we've met, the other 11 people we meet are the 5. I guess there's only 5 that she meets. That speak English. They are pretty docile characters, except for the mother who's mad at her. Who's
mad at her and seems to be a pretty unpleasant person. But I guess one of the things is, and they do take pains to show it, when she does into episode 2, she meets. For those of you who haven't seen it, why are you listening to this? Watch it. But in episode 2, she asks, because it's like, we'll do whatever you want. And she goes, can I meet the others who are like me? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. We can set that up. We'll check first. And then she's like, just the English speakers, because, I don't want you guys translating for me. And like, okay.
Yeah.
So she does meet with people from around the globe who speak English. By and large, they all bring loved ones with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the point. One of the reasons they seem to be okay, the mother of like, what is he, like a 12-year-old boy? Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, that is my son still. And Carol's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, that was your son, but now he's just part of everything else. And she goes, no, he's still my son. So it seems that everyone else is pretty calm, mainly because they may not be a part of the hive mind, but their loved ones are still with them.
They're being
have
placated.
Their memories.
Yeah.
And it feels like nothing's really changed except for the world's gotten nicer.
Right. Right.
I love every time they show, like, she'll drive through and they're still cleaning up after everything because, you know, there were disasters and so forth. And everyone's just doing jobs and they're perfectly synchronized.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing when her guide character, who she keeps calling Pirate Lady, you know, shows up and it's just like she takes off her helmet, hands it to someone who's waiting there, and it's like everything is perfect because they all know what needs to happen.
To each other. Yeah,
it's just weird.
It's so cool, and this I want to talk a little bit about how this unfolded and how the show just keeps like this cascade of subverted expectations as you're going along. Not in a Last Jedi kind of way. It's not like that's what you thought. It's more like, oh,
wait, you didn't see the director's cut where literally a character pops out, goes, ha ha, gotcha. And then backs up.
We open up with what seems very much to be something taken straight from the pages of Contact, Carl Sagan's novel, which was
Search for Intelligent
Great
Life.
movie, the Jodie Foster, great science fiction movie. A lot of people take it. She gets a little sappy towards the end. I love it. I love that stuff.
It does. It's a great movie. I'm your dad, but I'm not really your dad. I've just taken the shape of your dad.
Right. And that story, the whole premise of the film is that this advanced civilization, Earth receives a signal from an advanced civilization that which contains instructions to build this massive Stargate device.
I haven't watched that since the theaters, but it was good. I liked that.
So, and this is kind of like that. They're receiving this signal, and it's like, oh my god, it's from an intelligent source, and what is this? And oh wow, it's instructions for something. So, very Contact up to that point.
Yeah.
Then we find out we're not really told. We're shown it goes into a montage where we see what they're actually doing with the data, and it turns out to be something biological.
It turns out to be like a chemical sequence or something, and then since they can construct it, they're testing it on live animals, and then one of the lady scientists gets bitten by an escaped rat that has it. And then she has it. And by the way, it is working at the very beginning. Like you're saying, this feels familiar.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, it looks terrifying. It's that thing of like, she's trying to, scour and cleanse, but it's like, it's already in your bloodstream and she has that terrible seizure.
So we have that the Contact, Stargate kind of thing. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, this is like Contagion or any of those other movies, where there's like a virus that spreads across the planet.
Yeah. Patient zero and it starts spreading.
But what's cool about everything up to this point is that there's, except for the astronomers,
astronomers. You use those to see how many astroms there are.
They're, except for their conversations in the beginning where they're trying to figure out what the signal is saying. When we get into the next phase of the story, there's no exposition. We're just shown what's happening until we get to the scene where the scientists show up who are going to gas the rats, the first test subjects, and you're going to trash that. And that's when everything goes haywire. There's no exposition, and we just see it unfolding as it's happening, and we're left to, at first we're left to kind of figure out, along with Carol, when the story catches up with her, what the fuck's going on. We don't know until the very end.
There's also, and this is fine. And again, something familiar. They're doing a ticking counter, and at the beginning, the ticking counter is going down, and it will pick up. They're getting to a 0 point, and the 0 point is essentially once the virus is out, and then it's like boom, or at least once Carol experiences, I guess that's pretty much the rest of the world experiencing it when she's at the bar and everyone's like,
which very much enhances this sort of what becomes the next phase in the story, which is the zombie apocalypse motif that we think we're being led into it, and it turns out not to be exactly what we think, but that increases the tension. Oh, here we go, we're going down to ground zero of whatever this event is going to be.
But then they're all very nice.
And then, and we see her coming up to that guy who's wrestling with the vending machine. We think, oh, she's going to rip his face off. Please don't let it be that. No, she kisses him. Yeah. So that's one of the third, I would say, subverted expectation, the major thing in this story so long.
The only deaths are accidental.
They're collateral damage.
They're collateral damage, mainly because there is a physical... there's at least a phase in which you have no control over your body when it happens, which does cause accidents and plane crashes and what have you.
So, and it was so cool watching everything falling apart around Carol as after the week, because we see they're like, oh, that's weird, the chemtrails in the sky, what is that? They're all flying in formation. What's that? Is that weird? Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, anyway. And so apparently that was the event that caused everybody to shift at the same time, was this descending virus from God, I guess just water droplets or something.
Yeah,
and it just hits everybody at the exact same time, which is pretty efficient if you think about it.
Yeah,
but
she does ask, once Carol is made aware, because again, this isn't like some sort of secret thing. Once everyone has been connected, they want to know why Carol isn't one of them and the other people, but it's not like a desperate thing. They're basically saying like, maybe we'll figure out how you can become one of us, but if not, we'll just take care of you if that's okay. In other words, it's very passive and calm. But what I like Carol going like, what about the people in the space shuttle? It's like, have they? And they're like, no, they're coming down, and as soon as they get off, they'll,
no, they got to them first. So she says, we took care of that first. That was they went after the most distant people.
But how are they able to do that?
They must have gotten
again
by sending supplies up in the inside.
Oh, because again, they've got all NASA scientists and all the rocket scientists in the world.
They must. I think up to this point, they were infiltrating. Organizations, and probably sent up tainted stuff to those.
But it has to have happened very quickly, because I think at most it's like 11 days at the very beginning.
It's like a month, I think, from the mouse biting her too.
So that's right. So basically there are only some mysterious holdouts, and Carol is just coming to terms with it. Carol also happens to be smart, kind of cynical, very guarded. And I do think that purposefully, that's why they had the person closest to her die, because she will be the one who doubts the most, because she has nothing. She has no other support. They do have all the memories of her lover, but at the same time, that doesn't calm her. It's like it creeps her out when they go, you remember that time you had the really good shrimp at that one place? And it's like, we can make that for you. And she's like going, I don't want you knowing that. It's like, that's between me and her. And no.
Yeah, she feels violated.
Feels violated. They do know everything, every conversation she ever had with, her partner. So it's like, wow. And she's like, there's no need for privacy. But Carol sees privacy and individuality as like basic human rights, which, I kind of got a backer on that.
The thing I was going to say earlier.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say the world mind concept. Vince Gilligan is showing us how that would be awesome. And several of the other people that she meets with are going, don't you see how good this is? Literally, you can walk down the street now without any fear, because no one has like destructive thoughts anymore. It's all a happy world.
Well, this is the really funny thing about the zombie, the ground zero moment in the story, the zombie apocalypse unfolding, which isn't an apocalypse. It's like this this utopia descending across the planet, and she's running away. And instead of zombies chasing her to try to eat her, they're running with fire extinguishers to put out a fire on a bus, and they're all just running around like ants doing damage control.
They're just cleaning up.
They're fixing shit.
Because it's like they're taking care of stuff. I love the whole idea of and a great scene. I mean, Vince Gilligan, you're just brilliant, because the whole thing of her like determined, I will bury my partner and I'm going to dig the grave because there's no one around. I can't call a funeral service. But they offer. That's the thing, is that they're like going, we can do that for you. And she's like, you go back there. You don't even, but she eventually caves because it is really hard. And the whole time they're like going, you might want like a pickaxe, because the earth here is, the ground is really, it's volcanic rock. And eventually she tries, and then they're like going, we're worried that you're dehydrating. So the entire world is basically saying, please drink this water. And she doesn't even trust the water.
Yeah, she said it's the opinion of every doctor in the world that you need to drink this water.
They give her a sealed bottle of water, and she does take the top off like she's about to drink it, and then she just dumps it. Because even though it's sealed, it's like, you cannot manipulate me anymore.
Right. to give her specific confirmation that the bottle they contact through the hive mind.
I know exactly who bottled this.
Exact guy who bottled this.
My
He says,
God,
"Yeah, it's good.
It's so great. It's so great." And he says that was bottled like 2 months ago, and it's just good water.
Totally good.
She's like, and then she does allow them to airlift a backhoe, a one-person backhoe, and then Pirate Lady, because she has all the skills, who also flew herself, in a like military
massive
plane.
Cargo plane,
God, it's every second of the show is kind of it's building on the premise. I've never seen something this smartly constructed, where in 2 episodes I've already had like a full meal of the concept and where it could go, and still have questions, but I'm just delighted. And like I said, I trust Vince Gilligan to know where it's headed, instead of him just going, well, now I'm going to turn it over to other writers. You do what you want.
Yeah, because it's such like we've just been saying, it's such a delightfully unexpected storyline, and I really don't. I have a lot of ideas of what could happen, but I don't. I really don't.
That's you, man.
There's no one thing I'm favoring. Is like, well, it's got to be this, got to be this, got to be this. There's a lot of different ways I could see it going, and it's probably none of those things.
Yeah,
probably all the ideas I have are wrong.
Yeah, I mean. Well, if I were, all the concepts I could come up with where it would go would be a little bit on the nose.
Yeah.
And I think that Gilligan's smarter than that. When Lost started, again, I keep going back to that. When Lost started, I was like, well, this could end up being purgatory. Literally within like the first couple episodes, I'm like, this could be purgatory. And I was like, but the show won't be that dumb. Then you get to the end of Lost 8 million years later, and it's like, oh, it was purgatory all along. And I'm like, well, fuck you, man.
Well, here's one thing that makes me worry, and I'm pretty sure this is, if there is any semblance of this coming, it's not going to be the way I'm kind of thinking.
Let's see if you're thinking.
And this is all just mostly about the way that the infected, the others, whether they're called, interact with what's his name, Kumba? Yeah, Kumba Diabate.
Okay.
Who's the really, really flamboyant, basically the Hugh Hefner kind of character.
He's the one who's living his best life.
Yeah.
Like, he is not surrounded by loved ones, but instead he just saw the opportunity immediately. Like, really, the entire world wants to make me happy? Great. Well, I want this for dinner. I want this. I want that.
It's not just about Air Force One and expertly prepared food. It's women. We learned that
that part.
Any request of affection is welcome, meaning, oh, they'll have sex with you whenever you want, basically, is what
Carol's points are very well made in that second episode, even though she's getting more and more blasted and drunk. But the whole thing of her like going, well, I'm sorry if I don't see utopia as like having food brought to me and having my share of prostitutes. And she's like going, really? Is that the world mind? Is like whatever he wants, he gets, I can't believe that that's the purpose of all this.
So this makes me worry that the whole purpose of the virus is to basically create a servant race, turn the entire planet.
I was thinking the same thing.
For some other aliens that are coming later.
Like this is a softening up for an actual alien invasion.
And if that's the case, I hope it's done well. But that would be the most obvious thing is what's being set up right now.
It would be acceptable, and I'm sure Vince Gilligan would do it well. But that does seem so kind of on the nose that I can't really see that being
another possibility too. Is that Carol's ability to disrupt the hive with her anger may only be unique to her for some reason. And she may actually possess the ability to re-invoke individuality in people. And maybe the first person she does this to is Zoja, her companion.
Zoja is the name. That's another good point, is that while she's made out to be irrational, according to the other people who are not of the hive mind, she is obviously the one who's given it the most thought. But they do make the point of like, Zhozha's going to go with me. And she's like, who? And I'm like going, the one that has been your guardian this whole time that you just keep calling Pirate Lady. Goes, at least I asked her name. You're like, oh yeah, that's,
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's that interesting scene at the very end where she sees him leaving on Air Force One, and Zoja turns to look at her. So that makes her run and stop the plane. So it could be maybe she's already awoken some kind of spark in her, but who knows? That's just
it is a thing where what is the spark? Is it individuality? Because it is literally Zoja was not custom made, but she was chosen because she would ping parts of like Carol's desires and fantasies. So is that real or not?
It could be the concern of the entire hive for her being expressed in that glance,
Yeah, I mean that's a power they do have over Carol. I mean, besides the fact that it's the entire world against Carol, not against, but the entire world in contrast to Carol. So it's manipulation. And I believe Carol sees it, but Carol's also going to be extremely lonely. I will say that it's both a smart choice on Vince Gilligan's part, but also he is a writer as well. Making the character that is dealing with this a writer, a creator, is very smart. Because in a way, what they do is create their own worlds and characters and perfect situations or plots. So, of course, a writer would be the one like seeing every angle to it and going, "Oh no, I can't just take this at face value. I can't deal with that." And Ray Seahorn, just she's just amazing.
She is. I've never seen the woman who plays Zoja, Carolina Wydra.
No.
I've never seen her before. She's fantastic as well.
Yeah, they just they find the good people. And another thing I like, similar to Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, they're not. And I think this is Vince Gilligan's thing. He looks for good actors, but he doesn't necessarily want to plug in someone who's really known. He's finding new faces, and he wants not to just go, well, I don't know. Brad Pitt said if he ever did a TV show, he'd love to do a Vince Gilligan show, so he's going to be the star. It's not that kind of thing. He just finds the right people for the parts.
Speaking of which, all the astronomers in the beginning are so perfectly cast, those actors. I've seen there's some of them, a couple of them were familiar, character actor faces.
Yeah.
We probably won't ever see them again, but it'd be really fun to catch up with them at some point later to see.
But they'll be hive mindy. So
hive minds, yeah. But they're probably well, what are they doing? Like maybe sometime later in this first season, another signal arrives and they're receiving it, that type of thing. Although
who knows?
Of course, expertise doesn't mean anything. Specialties don't mean anything anymore because everybody can do anything.
Technically, personalities don't matter anymore, which is because even though they can access the memories of and they always go, this individual is blah, blah, blah. They'll say the name. Like, that's who I was, and I've got all their memories. But, personality comes from insecurities and intellectual differences and stuff like that. Or it's not, if everyone is basically the same, because the kid does call that woman mommy and is like a sweet, attentive child, but has all the same knowledge. I love the whole thing where she goes, "Hey, Ravi," or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
What would you use during a pelvic exam? Would you use the speculum or the blah blah? And he goes, "Actually," and then the mother's like, "Oh, we don't talk about that kind of thing." It's like the kid has all the knowledge of everybody on Earth. Yeah. So he's no longer a child. He just isn't your boy anymore.
Wow. One thing I thought was funny because we find out in that same scene that the others or the hive are essentially vegan. They don't want to kill any creatures. And but they'll prepare meat for the people, but they're not going to kill it themselves. It's sort of a loophole in their their
basically
their moral code.
When the slaughtered processed meats have been dealt with, when they run out, and there are only 11 people eating, but then again, meat goes bad. So at some point it'll be like, no, we're out of meat now. So I hope you enjoy eating.
Yeah. Well, what Kumba finds a loophole. He says, well, if I go and kill something, you prepare it for me,
would you prepare it?
We're like, sure. So one thing we find out in that before that, it's in the meeting, the first meeting they have in the boardroom on Air Force One.
Yeah.
where they say all the zoos are empty. They've released all the animals, and before Carol changes the subject, Kumbo says, apparently, because the lions and tigers, they suffered quite a few maulings. And she cuts in. And I was thinking about this later. It's like, hopefully Kumbo's just full of shit, because if the hive mind has every single expertise, everybody has access to that would include zoology.
Yeah, Vince. Like the stupidest thing you could do is just open up lion cages. Yeah.
Go, you're free. Oh shit. That's not gonna happen.
Oh well, anyway. I accept this. I'm being mauled, but I accept it.
It could just be Kumba, talking, just running his mouth.
I don't know, but I love the bit where the lady goes, "It's true. A giraffe came up ate all the leaves off my trees."
But if the hive was really operating the way they seem to with every other situation, they would relocate those lines. The predatory animals, they would relocate to a location where they can safely.
It seems silly that they would be opening zoos like into urban areas.
Sacrificing themselves, yeah.
Yeah, when you guys have all the planes at your disposal, all the cages and whatever, so you could move them back to equatorial Africa or whatever and just go, there you go, buddies. That's where you're supposed to be. But I think Vince Gilligan also can't resist like a cool idea.
Because he's like, that line was a one-off joke.
Many
he suffered many moments.
So 2 episodes in, we're clearly big fans of Pluribus and recommend that you watch it right now.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're driving. Become one with the hive mind. Join us. Join us in the light. All right, bye everybody.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, Saps. You know what I like? I like a bean with bacon. If we're talking soups, it's a fine one. Chicken noodle is a classic, but it all depends on how much salt you put in. I like a salty.